For ancient Egypt, the Nile was a lifeline, delivering the water and fertile soil required to survive in the desert. But that lifeline came with a severe, unpredictable volatility. When the river surged, the sheer kinetic energy of the floodwaters could effortlessly erase early mud brick settlements, sweeping away homes and crops in minutes. Moving inland was not a viable option for a farming society. To build permanent, large-scale cities, early builders had to find a way to control the river. By 2900 BC, this problem reached a critical point at Memphis. The city was expanding rapidly, becoming a central hub of early development. Because of its location on the floodplain, Memphis sat directly in the path of the annual inundation. Every year, seasonal surges threatened to wash the capital away. This historical photograph of the Nile overflowing shows the scale of the problem. The floodwaters stretch for miles, submerging the surrounding terrain and isolating these villages and palm groves. If engineers could not find a way to divert that volume of water, Memphis would have been uninhabitable long before the construction of the Great Pyramids. Solving this structural crisis allowed Memphis to remain a permanent capital on the riverbank, securing the city's position for centuries to come. The solution they developed was the earliest dam in recorded history. Built right beside the Nile around 2900 BC, it was a massive achievement for its time. A 49-foot mound of earth and stone raised directly against the water. This structure functioned as a defensive barrier. The design objective was to forcefully repel the river and keep the water out of the urban center. This cross-section shows the mechanics of the defense. As the river swells and the water elevation creeps higher, the 49-foot structure acts as a physical block against the rising tide. Instead of absorbing the direct impact, the sloped face deflects the flood's kinetic energy sideways. By forcing the water around the barrier, the engineers successfully maintained a dry zone behind the wall, protecting the city's foundations. By constructing this colossal shield, the builders secured the capital and proved that engineering could withstand the river's seasonal volatility. While the shield solved the problem of flooding, it did not address the desert's other extreme, the critical lack of water during the dry season. 4 centuries later, around 2500 BC, the civilization was expanding into much harsher, drier territory, where the Nile didn't naturally reach. The engineering challenge changed. The priority was no longer just excluding water from the settlements, but capturing and storing it for later use. This led to the construction of a second monumental structure, the dam at Wadi Garawi. Unlike the Memphis shield built alongside a flowing river, the massive Wadi Garawi Dam was placed directly across a dry riverbed to intercept intense seasonal rains. Desert wadis act as massive natural funnels. When sudden rain hits the high ground, a branching network of dry ravines channels all that runoff down into one narrow choke point. The runoff creates severe flash floods. The dam was built to stand in the path of that surge, arresting the rushing water so it pools behind the structure. A violent flash flood is converted into a calm reservoir. By trapping the rainfall before it could vanish into the sand, the builders were now able to turn a destructive seasonal surge into a managed agricultural asset. Stopping a desert flash flood requires tremendous mass. To withstand the pressure, the Wadi Garawi Dam was built to an astonishing thickness of 295 feet. This excavation photo reveals the construction method. The builders laid down deep foundations of heavy, interlocking stone blocks to anchor the core of the structure against the current. At 295 feet thick, the dam possessed the mass necessary to repeatedly absorb the blunt force impact of millions of gallons of fast-moving water. Because they engineered the base so heavily to handle that kinetic stress, the foundation of the dam has survived for over 4,500 years. Looking at the wider footprint of the site, you can trace the scale of the ruins as they stretch across the dry riverbed today. Despite millennia of wind, sand, and erosion, the physical evidence of this problem-solving remains locked in the geology of the wadi. By 2500 BC, Egyptian engineers had successfully executed 2 distinct strategies, building a 49-foot shield to protect Memphis and a 295-foot catch at Wadi Garawi to secure resources. These ruins represent the establishment of 2 separate engineering logics, protection and storage, which continue to dictate how modern dams are designed today.